Hi everybody, Joker Plays here, and today's video is going to be another fun one. It is a unique build specifically using the new, NaNa pieces that we are going to get with the Lego Pass. As you can see here, I have the new floors that I'll be using for wings. I've got the other flooring pieces that'll be part of the build, especially with the tail fin section. I've got the roof pieces which will actually be used for the fuselage, including the peely heads. The gongs, which will be used for winglets as well. We have these pillars here that will end up being used essentially as fuel tanks or missiles, and of course the nose cones to go with it. We of course have to use the peely chair, and of course you can't get away without using the peely wall art, so that had to be incorporated into this build. Of course, utilizing the coat hanger as well in the tail section. So without further ado, let's get into this build. This is going to be a fun one, so stay tuned because this is kind of an intermediate level build that's going to walk you through moving and rotating a lot of different pieces. So this is definitely a learning video as well. Alright, to begin this build, we are going to start with the fuselage portion of it. So I've got a jack down. I'm going to jump up, go to my roof pieces. And for there, you're going to find the NaNa roof cap number 4. This is going to be the first piece that we're going to put in. We're going to put 1, snap, put 2. Then at the very end, since we're already here, we're going to put the NaNa roof cap number 1 for some additional length. And that's going to do the underside of our fuselage. The next step is to put the nose cone in place, and in order to do that we're going to have to do our first rotation. So pay close attention to this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab a wood foundation, and I'm going to line it up with the very edge of this roof cap piece. From there I'm going to go ahead and use a thruster. Place it just a little higher there, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab the NaNa Jungle Peely statue face. And once we have it in place, you'll see that it should be flush with the bottom. If you are not flush, you have this thruster set in the wrong position, but it should be good as long as everything is flush. Now, I'd like you to be mindful, this little tongue sticks out a little bit, and that's the reason why this works here. But when we go to snap the second portion, that's when that tongue is going to come into play. From here, we're going to go ahead and smash this piece. And now we are... Alright, now that the bottom half of our fuselage is complete, it's time to work on the top half. For this, we're going to be doing some double inverted pieces in order to flip this correctly. So please pay close attention to what I do on these next few steps. First off, we're going to take a NaNa thin floor and we're going to put it on top and get this thing reaching outwards. Okay? So it's nested on top of the roof piece, sticking out. From here we are going to need a large thruster. We cannot use a small one in this case. So we're going to put the large thruster and attach it to the bottom side of this. And that's going to be good to go. Now the next step we are going to do is we are going to go back and get another one of our NaNa pieces here. We're going to aim at the bottom of this, and this should invert that piece, and you see it has a capacity to be able to stick, and that's when we are going to go and hug our fuselage. That is now in place. It is flush with the top there, or what will be the bottom, I guess, because it's both. Alright, so we're breaking off the top portion there that's in our way. We've had this piece that is now inverted, and this is now when we're going to use, we can use a small or large thruster. In this case, I'm going to use a small one again. When you put down these flat pieces, that's when you need to use a large thruster, just in case you were wondering why I'm toggling between the two. Alright, For normal pieces or anything else, the small thruster works. So here I go. I've got the small thruster in place. I'm now going to get my NaNa roof cap number 4. And you see it is now backwards or inverted. I need to scoot over here. We're going to aim at the bottom of the thruster. And that piece is now rotated. And we are now going to move this into place. So we got 1, 2, and this should now sit flush with the front. So now we have officially rotated the fuselage to create the top half, which is also a bottom half, so to speak, I guess. And so now we're just going to use the snap feature to stack another one, and then the roof cap number 1. And that's going to take care of the bottom portion and top portion of the fuselage barrel portion. And then now this. Alright, so now that the top or bottom half of the fuselage are fused together in a mirror image, the next part is to go ahead and do the same thing with the peely head as well. And to start that, we are going to put down another thruster on the top. So I have that in place, and then I'm going to take that same foundation block and put it all the way up to the front. But then I'm going to put it right there, shift it over to the corner. And then I'm going to come over here and add another block right next to it. But I want to control the height in which it's attached. So you should see a little tiny gap on this piece that I just attached to the one on the left. So we have that. And then next thing I know, next thing is to put down our thruster. So it's going to be a nub shifted up. And then we are going to take our peely head, invert it once again, and attach it. And you should see that everything is flush and that tongue is nested just underneath that block with that little gap that we put on there. So that's what you're going to want to do in order to get the other peely head in place. Alright, while our large thruster is in place right there, we're going to begin to put on the flooring and lighting for the top of the airplane. So to do that, let's go to our lights first. I'm going to turn filters off for just a moment because for my particular build, I want to use the Burger floor light. And I'm going to move that all the way to the front. It's going to turn red, shift over, put one to the right, move one to the left. So it should look like this. Alright. And then from there, you should still see 6 studs of space, and that's perfect. With our large thruster in place, that is when we are going to put some of our flooring in place. And so we're going to go turn on our NaNa builds once again. Vehicles, utility, and futuristic, so we have that. So I'm going to come over here to my flooring and get the NaNa thin floor number 1. And this is what's going to compose the top of the fuselage there. So I'm going to go ahead and break that. We no longer need that thruster in place. And then we're going to go ahead and start snapping these all the way across the top till we leave a total of 4 studs there in the back. So now that we have 4 studs there in the back, we're going to begin our tail fin section. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and use the large 16-piece floor. The NaNa thin floor, and that is centered. And I'm just going to rotate that so it looks even. So that's good to go. And then I'm going to take another one of the 6x1, 6x2x1s, and then add some additional length there. And now that covers this. Okay. So the tail fin section is now complete in terms of the flat. So is the top. And let's see. While we're here, we'll go ahead and drop down our seats. Our seats are pretty simple. I'm going to use the medium seat. And then I'm also going to count number of blocks. Let me just, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so after the 12th one is where we are going to line up our seat. And let's see, so it really should be, you'll see 6 of these duals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it looks like it's 1 step back, so we're going to go ahead and relocate this. And that is now in place. And then from here, we might as well put our banana seat. So that is in place as well. And that's going to have a 2 stud gap as well. So 2 studs gap here, and then you'll see the start of this seat. So now our seats are in place. Alright, now that the top section of our plane is complete, we are going to begin doing the winged section. Now for that, before we counted 6 of these dual blocks to the rear, starting from the lights. In the wings case, we're going to do 4 of the dual blocks. So it's technically 8 studs over from the brown, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8. That means that the wing piece is going to start right here where you see the white dot. So let's go ahead, go back to our floors, and then this is where we are going to pick the NaNa wide floor. Let's see, I believe it's going to be this one. So it's going to be this one first, and that is going to go coming out, out, and it turns green. Good to go. And so we know we're using the bottom half of the flooring here. So you see this is level here, and it's attaching a total of 8 studs back. And then how we know we're going the right direction is because the lines are flowing smoothly like they're supposed to. And then we're going to come over here and then select the other NaNa floor. We're going to do the same rule here. And it looks like I need to move out of the way. And it looks like we can set that just a hair taller. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So this one needs to shift up just a half a block. Go ahead and make that adjustment. So we should be able to snap. We can also snap onto the piece up front. And then we're going to push it out until it's even, turns green. And that is good to go. So now if you look at the plane, all the lines move forward. And so now we have our tail wing section and our wing section. And now it's time to move on to the next section of the plane. Alright, it is daylight once again, and we have our wings in place, our tail fins in place. So we're going to do some of the easier stuff. And to do that, we are going to go ahead and put our Peely wall art for our wing tips in the back. So that is going to be the painting. We're going to snap it on the very edge, and that is good to go. We're going to come over here, do the same thing, snap it. That is good to go. So now we've got our Peely wall art for our wing tips there on that side of it. Now let's go ahead and start taking care of the back. We'll just go ahead and finish it. Now we're going to do our wall hangings as well while we're back here. So there's no art form to this. We just got to simply find a place and snap it, and then figure out a way to make it go down. There we go. And I just added that, and that just gives it just kind of a unique look to it. Kind of fits the motif, so I'm going with it. And now we can start getting into, well, some of the more inverted, more fun type of stuff here. So let's go ahead and start doing our bombs essentially on the plane, or the fuel tanks if you want to call them that. That's good too. So we are going to begin by putting on our first foundation piece. If you look, I'm making it even to the bottom of the wing. I'm going to go ahead and add another one there at the bottom. And then now the same trick we did for the nose cone up front up here, we are going to do the same thing here in the back. So we are going to place this block with just a 1 stud gap right there, or half a stud. Okay, so that's shifted up a little bit. And then now we're going to go back to the underside. We're going to begin by putting on our small thruster. And let's grab our small thruster, and we're going to put it on this piece that we did shift a half a block. If you put it on this piece here, this fuel tank section will not attach correctly. So that's why there is that little bit of a gap, that half a stud gap. So we put this up. It shifts it just enough to where this will work. So now we're going to go get our, it's going to be the wall piece here. So it's NaNa log wall number 1. We're going to aim it at the thruster, move it up, and then we're going to go to where we are 2 studs apart. So now if you look here, you got the fuselage, 2 studs, and then your first piece. Then you got 2 studs gap, then your second piece right there. Now then we're going to go from here. We're going to use this piece to snap, since we can snap to these. They're wall pieces. And then we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to shift it over to the other side. So we have it flush to the fuselage, and then 2 stud gap. Then we're going to snap and 2 stud gap. So now all of our pieces are in place for the body of the fuel tanks, or missiles if you want to call them. And so those are in place. There should be a slight gap here at the back if you do it exactly the way I do it. If you do not have a gap, that's okay too. That's not important in this particular case. What is important is that we're able to snap there in the back. So since we're back here now, we're going to go ahead and put our rocket booster engines. Those will just snap to the back. Good. 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 This is what's going to provide our forward thrust on this airplane. Those will default to channel 3, so there's nothing you need to do there. And then now we need to come back to the front of the aircraft, and this is when we're going to put on our, looks like it's a wall piece, maybe? Hang on. Fence piece. No, pole piece, definitely no. Oh, these roof pieces. Yes, they are roof pieces. Okay, so we're going to use the NaNa spike wall number 1, and that's going to be the cones for the fuel tanks or your missiles. All right, so that's going to take care of the bottom portion now. The only next step to do is to go ahead and add your wheels, since we're already down here. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and use the vehicle base number 1. We're going to go 2 studs back from the very front, and we're going to do the same thing from the back. Go 2 studs from the back, and then we now can add our wheels. Now for this particular case, I am going to use medium wheels. So since I'm in the back, I'm going to put the back wheels on first, and I'm just going to go back here so I know that this goes flush. And that is now flush. And then I'm going to do the same thing with steerable wheels for the front. That is flush. That is flush. And then now we're going to change the direction of the wheels, make sure they're going in the appropriate direction. And the wheels are good to go. So we've got our thrusters here, we've got our wheels in place. This plane is almost complete. We're going to go back and start working on the top again. And to do that, we need some turning thrusters. So this is where I'm going to use a piece from the Mos Eisley fences. And this is going to be the Mos Eisley fence piece number 1. And I'm picking this piece in particular because of the color side of it. It kind of closely matches, so that's why I'm using this. You have to substitute with other pieces, that is okay. So I'm putting those there simply so that I can go over here and put on some small thrusters, which will become my turning thrusters. So those are in place. This thruster here, since in the back, it's going to be the one that's going to make me turn left, which I always use channel 1 for. And then the one that's going to make me turn right, I use channel 2. And that's it. Those are your turning thrusters. All right. So the next step we got to do is we got to go ahead and put our balloons. I'm going to start with our stationary balloons first. And those are going to come right here. So if you look at your seat, right here where it's blue, that's where I'm going to place the balloon. I'm going to hug the fuselage. All right, so that's that. And then the seat here, you got 1, 2, 3. And then again, we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. All right, so those balloons are in place. We've got our 2 seats. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to place our activated balloons, which are going to be large. And those are going to come essentially 3.5 dual blocks or 7 studs. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. So it should line up right here with this middle block. Okay, so that's going to be right here. And then to top that off, so you see the shadow pattern is right there in the middle, or looking at the back of the seat. And it should be 1 stud away. So you see this line on the wing, it should be 1 stud away from that as well. And luckily, it is the same on this side, so we can go here. And 1 more forward. You see we're lining up, we're splitting that one in the middle. And then 1 stud over on there. All the defaults on the balloons are the same, so all is good to go. There is one last step that we need to do, and that's going to be putting on our winglets on the airplane wings itself, and those are going to be, let me find the piece here. Here we go. So those are going to be the NaNa jungle gongs, and we are going to go ahead and put those on the outside so you can see the gong itself is facing the outside, which means when we come over here we are going to have to rotate it 180 degrees, put that in place, and now that is the last of our pieces. So you have a fully functional airplane at this point with all the pieces you need to fly, if that's all you want to do is fly. But somebody asked me about storage. Does this have storage? Well, as it's configured, no, it does not have storage. But if you wanted to add storage, you can, and this is where it's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and place the storage for you so you can see where that goes. And I'll just use some grand chests right here. So the first one's going to sit right on top, and it's going to be 2 studs forward from the driver's seat. And then same thing, we're going to apply the same thing here, and it's going to be 2 studs back from the banana seat. And that will balance the weight once again, and everything will be good to go. As you can tell that the chests are perfectly centered from the balloons, both these ones here and those ones there. So everything is good to go if you wanted to run chests on this particular aircraft, but you don't have to. So this build is now complete, and the next thing to do is just drop it and fly it. So let's go ahead and do that. Once daylight comes, we're going to take this out for a spin. All right, everybody, follow me. Let's go ahead and hop in this thing and take it for a ride. As you could tell, this thing is looking sweet. And now, here we go. As you can tell, this thing is very smooth to fly. It took off very easy. There's no crazy turning, whoopsies, or anything like that. It is a smooth flying plane that is very well balanced. Thank you everybody for watching this video. I really hope you get as much joy out of building this plane as I did. And don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you. YouTube is also suggesting a great video for you to watch that is popping up on your screen right now. If you have a moment to watch this video, you're definitely going to enjoy a lot more of my content. So once again, thank you for watching, and until next time, keep gaming in your crosshairs.